In the annals of human history, few events are as profoundly tragic and complex as the transatlantic slave trade. This dark chapter is often viewed through the lens of European and American actions, leaving the intricate role of Africa less examined. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover the layers of history that shaped an era, focusing on Africa's participation in this trade. Our exploration is not just a recounting of historical events. It's an attempt to understand the societal transformations and human stories that unfolded during this period. The slave trade was not just a series of transactions, but a cataclysm that reshaped continents and lives. As we delve into this sensitive subject, we do so with the utmost respect for its gravity and impact on our world today. It's crucial to approach this topic to educate and enlighten, not to assign blame or oversimplify the complexities involved. The history of the slave trade is a tapestry of human interactions, decisions, and consequences woven together over centuries. By exploring Africa's role, we seek to provide a complete understanding of how this tragic trade in human lives came to be and how it has shaped the modern world. This video aims to shed light on the often overlooked African dimension of the slave trade, exploring the reasons behind African participation, the nature of their involvement, and its lasting impact on the continent and its people. Historical context. Before the transatlantic slave trade, Africa was a continent of vast kingdoms and diverse cultures, each with unique social and political structures. These societies ranged from centralized states to smaller tribal communities, each with distinct customs, languages, and traditions. In many of these societies, forms of servitude and slavery existed, but they were markedly different from the transatlantic slave trade. These forms of servitude were often tied to traditional governance and social hierarchy systems. They were more akin to indentured servitude or feudal serfdom, and were often not based on race. Understanding this pre-colonial context is crucial to comprehending the transformation that occurred with European involvement. In these societies, slavery often had a different meaning and function than it would later have under the transatlantic slave trade. It was typically more akin to feudal serfdom, lacking the brutal and dehumanizing aspects that would later define the transatlantic slave trade. Enslaved people could sometimes earn or buy their freedom, marry, own property, and even rise to positions of power and respect. This system was appended with the arrival of European traders, who brought with them a different, more exploitative form of slavery driven by commercial interests and racial ideologies. This shift had profound implications for African societies, reshaping their economies, social structures, and ways of life. The transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade began in the 15th century with the arrival of European traders on the African coast. Initially drawn by the prospect of trading in gold, ivory, and spices, these traders soon turned their attention to a more lucrative commodity, human beings. The demand for labor in the Americas, driven by the growth of plantation economies, created a voracious market for enslaved people. African rulers and merchants, enticed by European goods such as guns, alcohol, and textiles, became entangled in a trade that would have unimaginable consequences. This marked the beginning of a tragic and complex relationship between Africa and Europe, one that was based on exploitation and dehumanization. The involvement of African entities in the slave trade was a complex and multifaceted phenomenon. While some leaders actively participated in the trade for profit or power, others were coerced or threatened into compliance. The dynamics of power, economics, and survival played a significant role in shaping decisions. Profound moral and social dilemmas marked this period. African societies were caught in a web of external pressures and internal conflicts. Some leaders saw participation in the slave trade as a means to strengthen their kingdoms against rivals or to gain access to valuable European goods. Others resisted, recognizing the destructive impact the trade would have on their societies. This era of African history is a story of difficult choices, often made under duress and with far-reaching consequences. Complexities and misconceptions. One of the most significant challenges in understanding Africa's role in the slave trade is navigating the myriad of misconceptions and oversimplifications that pervade popular narratives. It's a common misconception that all African leaders and communities were willing participants in the slave trade, eagerly selling their people for profit. However, the reality is far more complex. Many African leaders found themselves in a precarious position, facing threats from rival groups and European traders. Some were coerced into the trade, while others saw it as a necessary evil to protect their people or gain an advantage over their enemies. The dynamics of power, economics, and survival played a significant role in shaping decisions. The collaboration of some African entities in the slave trade was not a blanket endorsement by the continent. Recognizing the diversity of responses and the internal struggles that many communities face is essential. The impact of these decisions led to profound societal changes and a legacy that would extend far beyond the era. The slave trade disrupted traditional African societies, leading to population loss, social upheaval, and economic disruption. It also contributed to developing racial ideologies that would have lasting impacts on the world. Understanding these complexities is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of the slave trade and its lasting legacy. The effects and legacy. The long-term effects of the slave trade on African societies were devastating. The trade resulted in the forced migration of millions of Africans, leading to a significant loss of population and a disruption of traditional cultures. This profoundly impacted the continent's social, economic, and political development. The slave trade also contributed to the development of racial ideologies that justified the exploitation and dehumanization of African people. These ideologies had lasting impacts, shaping attitudes and policies towards race and ethnicity for centuries to come. The legacy of the slave trade is still felt today in the ongoing struggles for racial equality and justice. The cultural and emotional legacy of the slave trade is a complex and painful one. It is a story of loss, resilience, and survival. The forced migration of millions of Africans led to the spread of African cultures and traditions across the Americas, contributing to the rich cultural tapestry of the African diaspora. However, it also resulted in the loss of cultural heritage and identity for many African communities. The emotional impact of the slave trade is still felt today in the ongoing struggles for recognition and reparations. As we reflect on this painful chapter of history, we must acknowledge the strength and endurance of those who suffered, and the lasting impact on African diaspora communities worldwide. Conclusion. As we conclude our exploration of Africa's role in the transatlantic slave trade, we are reminded of the complexities and nuances of history. This history chapter is a tapestry of human interactions, decisions, and consequences woven together over centuries. It is a story of exploitation and dehumanization, but also of resistance and resilience. By exploring Africa's role, we gain a more complete understanding of the slave trade and its lasting impact on the world. This exploration is not just about understanding the past, it's about learning from it and using it to build a more just and equitable future. Let this journey be a call to reflection and understanding. History, in all its facets, teaches us about the depths of human capability, both for cruelty and resilience. We can forge a more compassionate and informed future by learning from the past. We must remember the lessons of history and work towards a world where such injustices are never repeated. Thank you for joining us on this crucial journey. We hope this exploration has enlightened and moved you, and we encourage you to continue learning and reflecting on this complex and essential topic. We thank the historians, researchers, and communities who contributed to this exploration. Your insights and expertise have been invaluable in shedding light on this complex and vital topic. For more detailed information and sources, please check the description below. Thank you for your support and engagement. Thank you for joining us on this crucial journey. If this video has enlightened or moved you, we encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments, explore further, and share this knowledge with others. Your engagement and support are crucial in spreading awareness and understanding of this complex and vital topic. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.